Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, Senator.
Laura. Good to see you.
Same here.
I have a few questions for you. And I'm sorry I missed your testimony, but I did read it since I've been sitting here. My first question, far and away, is the one that troubles me the most in here, and it's not something you did, it's something that's in the budget. But I'd like to know your view of it because it's almost scary, which is this cut to bilingual education. But I'm not worried about the cut. I'm worried that there wasn't more there in the first place. As you all know, and this is just, I know my part of the state better than I know other parts of the state, Norwalk is literally exploding with hundreds of children arriving in various waves who are not native English speakers. And yes, the city is kind of shouldering the burden at the cost of great budget increases locally. And I know that you can't, the SDE can't be responsible for all of that. But the purpose of this line item is to help with funding and resources. And I'm sure the same thing is going on in a number of other locations, if not everywhere. I know it's not everywhere. But we all know if you don't get to people early enough, if you do, with bilingual education, everybody gets something out of it, everybody learns, and you go along your merry way and people get educated. And if you don't, you've got a very severe problem. I don't see how the cut's possible, and maybe I sound strange saying this, but I don't see how it's possible to deal with that, without even having, I'm sorry, we're on TV here. I don't see how it's possible to do it without more money than we had in the first place. Do you have any view, any hope for this, and how would you approach it?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for sharing your concern. We've had conversations about the growth in Norwalk, and I know Danbury is in a similar situation. We know servicing the needs of our English learners is paramount, that we're not going to address the workforce needs or diversifying our profession if we're not able to meet the needs of students in a K-12 system. We are moving forward with a position of equity and language that was supported last year by the legislature, so thank you for that. And we are anticipating a more direct connection with all districts, all municipalities on how they're serving English learners. So we look forward to moving forward with the resources that we do have, but I understand your question is, how could those cuts happen? Unfortunately, with this budget, difficult decisions have to be made outside of, my ability to decide. However, I know that with the budget that we have and the commitment that we have from the governor, that we're going to be addressing achievement disparities, including L's, more aggressively.
Well, I appreciate your response, and I know it's a major concern of yours, and I don't attribute this to you in the slightest. But it's alarming. I think sometimes it comes from people who haven't been outside the country and don't realize that the United States is trailing every country in the world in terms of language competency, and I mean people who are native English speakers. And anybody who's skeptical of putting funding into this must realize that by not doing it, we're also depriving native English speakers of acquiring a competency that they could have as well. So I'm troubled. I would like to see us have a plan that I'd certainly like to see the cut restored, but if we don't do this now, how would we roll it out in future years and really in a big way, because it's going to consume us and drown us.
Thank you.
Thank you.